All right, let's continue studying the Python. We are focusing on unnecessary comparisons. I was thinking that perhaps would be best to probably just record me doing the exercises and how I react to the exercises, but I don't care actually. As long as I have time, I can record everything. So when you need to check if a string is not empty or a number is not zero, truthiness is the way to go. Notice how each of the following can become much more concise and clear. Unnecessary comparisons, unnötige Vergleiche. Wenn Sie prüfen müssen, ob eine Zeichenkette, String ist eine Zeichenkette auf Deutsch, nicht leer oder eine Zahl ungleich 0 ist die Wahrheitsprüfung die richtige Methode. Beobachten Sie, wie sich die folgenden Ausdrücke dadurch deutlich prägnanter und verständlicher gestalten lassen. So, if a string equals not a empty string, simplifies to if a string wait, what was it? I actually forgot what was the 3 dots. If a number equals not 0, simplifies to if a number. This is often useful when you want to check if a string is empty, for example, before you index the first element of convert the string to an integer, or check if a number is not 0 before you divide. Dies ist oft nützlich, wenn man überprüfen möchte, ob eine Zeichenkette leer ist, zum Beispiel bevor man auf das erste Element zugreift oder die Zeichenkette in eine ganze Zahl umwandelt, ob eine Zahl nicht 0 ist, bevor man sie dividiert. Index. An index represents the position of an item within an ordered list or a string. It starts from 0, so the first element has an index of 0, the second has an index of 1, and so on. Okay. The dollar amount is assigned to input. Enter a dollar amount. If dollar amount is assigned dollar amount index 0, need the string to be non-empty before we can index. People equals input. How many people are there? If people, number of people is assigned integer people, if number of people, print the price per person is 5, number of people. Need the string to be non-empty before we can index. Need the string to be non-empty before we can convert. Need the integer to be non-zero before we can divide. Accidental truthiness. One of the reasons why understanding truthiness is so important is that it opens an entire new set of mistakes. The following example program demonstrates the mistake. If you read the code out loud, you will probably expect the condition to evaluate the false and the print statement to not be executed. The variable alpha holds the value 5, which is not equal to 3 or 4. However, you may recall that the OR operator has a lower priority than the equal operator. Python will first evaluate the equality test between the variable alpha and the value 3, which will result in false. Since the operator is OR, we next evaluate its right-hand operand. So Python will evaluate the value 4 on its own and use that value as the result of the conditional expression. Since 4 is non-zero value, the entire expression evaluates the true thanks to the rules of truthiness. Since the 4 is non-zero value, the entire expression evaluates the true thanks to the rule of truthiness. Correct. If alpha equals 3 or alpha equals 4, this will not be printed. If alpha equals 3 or 4, this will be printed. Okay, that's a huge difference. That's actually a huge difference in operators. The proper version of the code is also provided. You just repeat the comparison operator a second time. When evaluating expressions, you must keep track of whether truthiness was accidentally involved. Wait, let's copy, paste it, and run the program. This will be printed, and it is printed. And this is not printed. Because alpha is signed 5. Evaluate the following expression in terms of truthiness. -1 is smaller than 4 and 0. Okay, so we have to immediately use the knowledge. That's a good exercise for focus. So evaluate the following expression. This is true. Then -1 is smaller than 4 and 0. Like it is true. I think it's true, but it's tricky. But it's I'm sure it's tricky. Of course it's fucking tricky. Of course. I'm sorry. Try again. Although a human might read this expression as 1 is 1 less than both 4 and 0, Python reads it differently. Instead, Python interprets this as is -1 less than 4 and is 0 a truthy value, although -1 is less than 4. The truthiness of 0 is falsely. If you and together a true value and a falsely value, you will get a falsely value. If you and together a true value. Correct. The first checks whether -1 is less than 4. Yes. Afterwards, it checks the truthiness of 0, which is falsely. Then it used the AND operator to combine the true and falsely values, which results in falsely value. So false and true gives false. True and false gives false. Evaluating the following expression in terms of truthiness. 1 is bigger than 5 or 3. So the OR operator. Let's get back. If alpha, this will be printed. Yes. Yes, wait. I think I get it. Evaluate the following expression in terms of truthiness. 1 is bigger than 5. That's false. And 1 is bigger than 3. No, what is 3? 3 is true. Wait, this is tricky. Okay. So this is false, but the Python is going to evaluate whether this is truthy or falsely, and it doesn't do the okay, I get it. So this is false and this is true, and true and false gives false. Falsely. No, how the hell? Try again. Although a human might read this expression as 1 is greater than either 5 or 3, Python reads it differently. Instead, Python interprets this as 1 is greater than 5, or is 3 a truthy value? Although 1 is not greater than 5, the truthiness of true is truthy. So if you OR together a false and truthy value, you will get a truthy value. False and true, you will get a truthy value. But true and false, it gives you a falsely value. Okay, this is something I have to note. Good. If you together a false and truthy value, you will get a truthy value, but it's opposite. So if you get true and falsely value, you will get a falsely value. Okay, you will get a falsely value. So 1 is not greater than 5, the truthiness of 3 is truthy. If you altogether a false and true, you will get a true. Okay. Correct. The first checks whether 1 is greater than 5, which is false. Then it checks the truthiness of 3, which is truthy, because 3 is bigger than 0. Then it uses the OR operator to combine the false and truthy values, which results in a truthy value. Okay. Summary. All expressions in Python can be evaluated for their truthiness. Non-empty strings and non-zero numbers are truthy. Empty strings and zero numbers, 0 and float 0, are falsely. Truthiness is used in if statements, conditionals, and when you convert values using the bool function. Truthiness is not the same thing as being equal to the values, true or false. Truthiness can make conditional expressions slightly more readable by removing a comparison operation. Truthiness can also be the source of mistakes, such as when you try to use or and to chain together comparisons. Okay. Again, let's read it in German. In Python können alle Ausdrücke auf ihre Wahrheit überprüft werden. Nicht-leere Zeichenketten und von 0 verschiedene Zahlen sind wahr. Leere Zeichenketten, Strings, und Nullzeichen, 0 und 0.0 sind falsch. Die Wahrheitseigenschaft wird in den Bedingungen von if-Anwendungen und bei der Umwandlung von Werten mit Hilfe der boolischen Funktion verwendet. Die Wahrheitseigenschaft, the truthiness. The truthiness is not the same thing as being equal to the values true or false. Wahrheitsliebe ist not dasselbe wie die Gleichsetzung mit den Werten wahr oder falsch, true or false. Die Verwendung von Wahrheitswerten kann bedingte Ausdrücke etwas lesbarer machen, indem eine Vergleichsoperation entfernt wird. Slightly more a comparison operation. Die Wahrheitsliebe. Die Wahrheitsliebe kann auch die Quelle von Fehlern sein. Beispielsweise, wenn man versucht, Vergleiche mit oder und zu verketten. Okay.